for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, many of us on both sides of the aisle are concerned about the workings of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, ORR. When the Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee holds a hearing on ORR to address our questions and our concerns and looking for answers, are you willing to come to the subcommittee to testify? Yes or no?
Absolutely,
Yes.
Absolutely, Congressman.
Thank you very
I hope we
much.
can work out a good time. Just make sure I'm available.
Yes, sir. We'll work on that. Also, Mr. Secretary, on another subject, the President recently signed into law a bill that passed unanimously in both the House and the Senate to declassify information related to COVID-19 origins and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. When do you think HHS will be able to comply with the law? And I'm not saying to anybody, I don't want anybody to misinterpret that I think you all are tardy, because this has been like a week.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious as to what kind of a timeline there is.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. We will try to move swiftly because we're as anxious to get information out there as you are. There are a lot of entities around the world who aren't being transparent. We want to make sure we're transparent.
Let's switch gears and talk about some of the entities that aren't being so transparent. According to an article in the May 2021 China Daily, Minister Ma Xiaowei of the National Health Commission of the People's Republic of China said during a phone call with you that China was willing to deepen cooperation with the United States in fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic. What cooperation has China's National Health Commission provided?
Congressman, what I can tell you is I hope that those words ring true, that they will try to be more transparent and more collaborative, because we still are seeking information from China and about their research and about the information they have about the first infections that they saw of COVID in their country.
Yeah, this is very critical, and it's not just because we want to beat up on the lab or beat up on anybody else, but we have to have this data to try to figure out what we can do to try to prevent a future problem of a similar nature. Would you agree?
There is no way you're going to trace the origin or figure out how to address these and find remedies unless you have all the comprehensive information that lets you determine what is driving this.
In that regard, have you had communications with Minister Ma since May of 2021?
I have not, and it's been difficult to keep those communications going. We have made requests. We've done it directly and through the World Health Organization, and we're hoping that we will continue to see words that talk about doing more together.
And speaking of the World Health Organization, have they been cooperative? Because early on, it looked like they were kind of running interference on behalf of the Chinese, and I'm just wondering if that's gotten any better.
I would say that the WHO and the Director General have been making efforts to try to secure information from China. And I believe that they've tried to be as transparent as they can. They've done a good job of bringing so many countries together to deal with COVID. And all of us are seeking as much information from whatever the source is, not just from China, that we can get so we can figure out where we go from here with COVID.
All right, I appreciate that. Mr. Secretary, last year, Republican leaders McMorris Rogers, Mr. Guthrie, and myself wrote to you asking to provide more transparency about your meeting calendar. You declined to provide the information. However, other cabinet secretaries have publicly posted their calendars on the websites of their departments to dispel questions about your level of engagement on HHS matters and to build public confidence. Will you commit to making your work calendar publicly available like other cabinet secretaries do?
Congressman, we will provide the information like my work schedule and so forth as those requests come in and as the law requires.
Yeah, and I look forward to the ORR meeting that I referenced earlier, because there are a lot of questions that we want to get to. The New York Times article is concerning. Further, as you know, last year I raised issues about the vetting process for where we're sending these children. I want to look into that more, because I think on both sides of the aisle, we want to make sure, we may not agree on how they got here, how they crossed the border, but once they're here, we have an obligation to make sure these children are in safe environments where they're not being abused or exploited. You would agree with that, would you not?
100%.
All right, and I look forward to working with you to try to make ORR better and to figure out what we can do to live up to at least a minimal standard of security for these children. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.